the last week of 2020 and we're moving into 2021 next week.
It's crazy. I mean, like 2020 has been crazy itself, and I don't know what to expect from 2021, but we'll see. However, you did enjoy the Would You Rather game that we played last time, so much so that you actually wanted to play it again. So before we go into it, let's just, have a little Would You Rather session again. So let me just
Absolutely.
pull that up. All right, so the first question right off the bat, would you rather have uncontrollable ear hair or uncontrollable nose hair?
Um, Uncontrollable ear hair.
Ear hair. Really,
Yes.
I would actually probably go for the nose hair just because you can just wax it off or something every single morning and
Yeah.
it'll
Okay.
go away. But ear hair looks a little weird and it's kind of
I'll bet.
isn't it kind of hard?
I'll bet you that one.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'll select ear hair. Oh wow! All right, you won. You won. Looks like you're correct. All right, would you rather only smell poop, only smell like poop, or only smell poop? So you smell like shit, or you want to smell the shit? And that's all. That's all you want.
Only. I'd like to only smell poop.
Okay. Okay. That's gonna be terrible for you. I'd love to lose my sense of smell in that case. All right. Would you rather be able to run fast or jump high?
Run fast.
Run fast. Okay. Why though? Why not jump high?
I just think running fast is probably more useful than jumping high.
No, you do have a point there, and 75% people agree. So, would you rather wear summer clothes in the winter or wear winter clothes in the summer? This sucks.
Easy. Wear summer clothes in the winter.
I would agree. I would agree. I would definitely agree. They actually do something in Finland like that, though. I think it was Finland or some of those a country like that where they make kids go out in shorts
In,
and like in like summer clothes and go into like ice cold water just to increase their immune system.
in
And
Japan, it's
then
very common also.
really,
In Japan, the kids wear their short pants in the middle of the winter. It builds resilience. It builds a toughness. So no, it's something
yeah.
quite common in Japan also.
Yeah, and also I hate being warm because I tend to get
Well,
nosebleeds
you can only
when
take so much clothes off, right? That's the thing.
yeah,
Like when you put a lot on. You can only take a certain amount off.
very true, very true. All right. So, would you rather burp confetti or fart glitter?
Oh gosh. I think burping confetti would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool to be honest. Yeah, that's like a party trick actually. You'd get a
Yeah.
lot of attention from that too. Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world fluently or be the best in the world in one category of your choosing? That's actually a really good one. I think yeah, that's a good one to be honest. Which one would you rather do, Dave?
I'd rather speak every language fluently.
Oh no, no, no. I would definitely rather be the best in the world in one category of my choosing.
Yep.
But why would you rather be able to speak every language fluently over the
Because then,
other?
no matter where you go, you can really connect with people and really have some pretty cool conversations. And that would be a wonderful party trick for me, as opposed to being the best at one thing.
Yeah, but imagine being like the best business owner or
Yeah, but
entrepreneur
again,
or
if you've met some of these people that are the best at one thing, they're always going to be worried that someone else is going to be better than them. So there's a real demon to attempt to be the best in one category. You're always
no,
looking over your
yeah.
shoulder. It's like, and again, think of the people in the history who were the best. Howard Hughes, Rockefeller. These guys all went a little loopy towards the end of their life.
You're right, I
There you
guess. All right, you know what? You did shut me down there. I will choose what
But you
you went
won.
for. I did win, but you know what? Your explanation of it was I just can't. I can't back that. I cannot I can't put that down. So I'll have to go with yours. All right. So would you rather have surgery in a Mexican hospital or have surgery on the American Indian reservation closest to you? I have no
Wow.
idea what the hell this means. So it's all on you.
It almost rings my little racist bell, to be honest with you.
But
Um,
which one would you go for?
well, um, uh,
American Indian, that's like the practices of like the native people, right? Or Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
I would be happy to have a surgery on an Indian reserve.
Really?
Hmm.
Won't they have like unique sort of styles in terms of doing things?
I think
Like
they would tend to do maybe is get me in a really peaceful state before we went into surgery.
that you're not wrong. Yeah. Yeah. I guess 58% people agree with you as well. So would you rather have your best dream and the or have your best dream and the worst nightmare come true, or never have any of your dreams come true? Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Never have my dreams come true
Why?
because my worst nightmares are pretty bad.
Really? They're that bad. But
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
no. Again, something that some of our listeners might actually want to talk about in seriousness is night terrors. And night
ooh.
terrors is something I've recently been writing about and also conducting some service in because night terrors is something that really sucks.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right because some of my worst dreams are dreams in which I've been like shot or like brutally murdered or something. And I think if that
Yeah.
comes true, that's gonna suck. So that having my best dream come true is great, but the worst nightmare could put that all to an end. So I will agree with you on that. And 53% disagree. But I
Very
can see their
close, though.
point though. I can see their point. Maybe somebody is just, that lucky person who has never gotten a nightmare, right? So would you rather lose your preferred thumb or lose the index and middle finger of your preferred hand? So on your right finger or right hand, you lose your middle and your index finger, right? And then and you lose your preferred thumb, so your right hand thumb. So which one would you rather?
I'm easy on that one because definitely lose my preferred thumb. Because
Why?
growing up, I used to play lacrosse and I used to dislocate my thumbs all the time. So I'd often be walking around without usage of the thumbs, anyways.
Oh,
But
really?
losing your index finger and your middle finger would perhaps be a little bit less fun.
No, that's true. Yeah, four fingers better
Or
than three. So I would agree with that. Oh wow, 61% people. Or why
well,
why
maybe
did
a lot of
why
thumb,
did I
maybe
choose
a
that
lot of
one?
thumb thuckers on that one.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So would you rather only eat or only drink?
Mm.
I think you could get away with only drinking. I'm pretty sure you can survive doing that. If
Oh, I
you
would
can drink
definitely,
smoothies and
I would
stuff.
definitely only drink.
Yeah, yeah. You can because you need water, right? You can only survive 3 days without water. 55% of people who chose this are idiots, and
It must be an
45% people are
American
smart.
survey.
Definitely, definitely. All right. So would you rather perform petty thievery for a living or perform grand larceny for a living?
Ocean's 11 for me, man.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. So grand larceny, correct? Let's go with that.
Go
62%
high or
of
go
people
home.
agree. Yeah, go high or go home. Why would you try to, take away your credibility by stealing a chocolate bar? It makes no sense. Go steal $1 million. All right. So would you rather watch Seinfeld or watch The Simpsons? I've only watched The Simpsons, so I'm very, very biased on this one.
Yeah, it depends on who's doing the survey because I imagine my generation would pick Seinfeld, your generation would pick Simpsons. So I'll go with Simpsons.
Okay, perfect. All right.
There you go.
82% of
So
people
that's an indicator of the age group of the people who are doing the survey.
people who are doing and people who have created the survey as well. It's definitely a younger demographic and not the boomers. So, would you rather listen to everything but your favorite musician or artist, or listen to only your favorite musician or artist?
Well, since
This
I don't have
one,
a favorite musician or artist, I guess listen to everything.
no, no, you can't do that. I won't allow you to do that.
No,
So
no,
let's say you got
meaning,
to pick one music. Okay, let's make this a
yeah.
little bit more spicy. You got to pick one favorite musician or artist, and you can only listen to their music for the rest of your
Well,
life.
that's what I'm saying. So I would pick the blue one is listen to everything but your favorite musician.
Okay, all right.
So that's
Okay, yeah.
easy because I don't have
Fair
a favorite
enough.
musician.
Fair enough. 56%
However,
people still don't
yeah.
agree, which makes no sense to be honest. Uh, drive a bright red smart car or be spanked by Rosie O'Donnell every morning.
Is that even a real question?
Answer it. It's here.
Okay,
Answer
drive
it.
my bright red smart car.
But why wouldn't you want to be spanked by Rosie O'Donnell? That's the real question.
Is that the real question?
Yeah, yeah. Why wouldn't you want to be spanked by Rosie O'Donnell every single morning? What's wrong with that? Like, why drive a bright red smart car? Smart cars are for pussies.
Oh,
That
okay.
that's what my generation refers to it, right? So
Okay.
they're those mini little pussy huts, those
Okay.
pussies on wheels, and you just drive them around, do nothing. So
Well, I've
which
never
one?
been one to turn down a pleasant pussy.
Oh wow. Hmm. But I still think the Rosie O'Donnell offer is pretty good on the
Good.
table. So I'm
Good.
gonna go for that. And oh wow, you won. All right, great, perfect. So in a fantasy world, would you rather be a fairy who cannot fly or be a 10-foot tall dwarf? Wow.
Um, I definitely would prefer to be a fairy who couldn't fly.
Yeah, yeah. I think, but what could
Because then,
fairies
then,
do other than
then it
fly?
would be very much like the world we live in now.
Yeah, yeah. You are not wrong with that one. So we're gonna go with it, and people agree with you. Yeah. All right. So would you rather be the main character in South Park or Family Guy? Oh,
They could have made it even more complicated and asked who is the main character.
oh yeah, yeah. That's true. But which one would you rather be the main character in?
Um,
I'm gonna say South Park was a pretty legendary show. No cap. Like it was really,
oh,
really good show.
both of them
Yeah.
are legendary.
Yeah,
Like
but South Park would not survive in today's soft era. Like it just
is
it would
it
get
does it
beaten.
not exist anymore?
I don't know actually. I think they did stop making it because I don't know because I saw a lot of reports about racism, sexism, all that stuff in
Well, that's
South
why
Park.
they're able to do what they do. Both of them, like
Yeah,
both of the shows, push the limits.
very very
Um,
much.
I
Yeah.
guess I think being Peter would be pretty weird, but
Oh no,
fun.
they're actually still going. South Park is
Yep,
still airing. Yeah.
yep, yep.
But yeah, what would you rather do? I would
Family
love to.
Guy.
Yeah, Family Guy is pretty like it's more famous, but South Park is more, I'd say
But
progressive.
both the guys made millions and bazillions of dollars.
Yeah, yeah,
Seth
absolutely.
MacFarlane got huge respect for him. If he wants to come up on our show sometime, Seth, you're welcome. Hit us up. We'd love to have you on the show. You can bring any of your characters. His ability to do all the different characters is phenomenal. Big fan of Seth. He's a genius.
Yeah, yeah. 61% people agree. All right, so would you rather be able to talk to read minds, but you get a really bad headache after you use it, or be able to fly, but you're afraid of heights? Ooh. Ooh.
I would actually rather fly, but I'm afraid of heights because
Yeah.
it'd be like every time going on a roller coaster, right?
Yeah, yeah, it'd be a new experience every time.
Wow,
And
very close, huh?
barely, very, very close. Yeah. All right. So, would you rather be a ghost or be a vampire? I know my answer on this one.
It's funny. One part of me definitely enjoys the idea of being a vampire. Actually went to where Count Dracula's house is in Romania.
You
We
went
had
there.
we had our board meeting there one year, and it was absolutely fantastic to go and check out Count Dracula's castle, and to be aware that right next to where Count Dracula's castle is where the Crown Prince of the UK spends most of his summers. And
Really?
so, yeah, it's a really weird, wonderful place in Romania. So that spurred my interest of being a vampire. Yet, I guess I'd probably, yeah, actually, vampire.
Vampire. Okay.
You convinced
Okay.
me. It matches your shirt.
Okay. 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 42%. I mean, I'd say I'd be a ghost only because I'm invisible and I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, I was
You
thinking
just
of the
walk
movie
around.
Ghost, and like it wouldn't be too much fun. Patrick Swayze watching his Demi Moore with someone else, and that. So that's why I went vampire.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But you can never see the light of day though as a vampire, which would
That's true
suck to
too.
be honest. You're just gonna have to stay in the dark all the time. All right, so would you rather travel the world confined to a wheelchair or spend your whole life in the same 200-mile radius?
Definitely travel the world.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's much cooler for experiences and stuff. However, doing it in a wheelchair just does make it a little bit more difficult.
I've met a few wheelchair athletes, and they're absolutely amazing guys, gals, and just so inspiring watching them play basketball. And so they've definitely created a great life, even though that they might be in a wheelchair.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Paralympics is pretty cool. Do you remember?
Absolutely.
Do you remember that team that did cheat in the Paralympics to like make themselves win? That was a pretty cool story.
Wow.
Which team? Do you
Well,
do you remember which team it was off the top?
no.
Yeah, but I remember there was a team, a whole team that pretty much lost all their credibility because of getting exposed for that. All right, so oh no, we already did this last week, so we're gonna
All
skip
right, so
over it.
let's bring that to a close. That was great. Thanks so much.
Perfect. Actually, last one. Let's do one more, one more. All right. Would you rather be called out for stupidity or admit stupidity?
Absolutely admit stupidity. I do it all the time. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I'd hate to be the one to be called out, to be honest. It's better to admit to it because then it doesn't really matter. And that goes for the same thing for bullies too. If a bully is harassing you for something, the moment you admit it, they lose the credibility of that harassment because they're doing it for that sort of thing. So that could be a little trick for all those out there who are getting picked
Actually,
on.
it's a nice movement into the whole idea of bullying, and one of the best ways to deal with a bully is to actually create a bit of a team and go after the bully in a way that it's when it's not very energetically charged. It's best time to go after a bully.
Hmm. That could
If you
also
get
work as
if you
well.
get two or three or four people to go and have a chat with a bully when he's least or she's least expecting it, it could be a wonderful conversation and can stop the behavior.
Hmm. Really? Has that ever worked for you in the past though?
Absolutely. No, I've
Oh,
had bullying. I've been a bully. So
yeah.
I've been a bully when I was about 8, 9, 10 years old. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't, um, I'm not boasting about it. It's just the way I was at that age. And then I got bullied in my late teens. I got bullied by some guys in their 20s. And
Yeah.
then in the office, actually, there's quite a bit of bullying. And that's actually one of the things that led to some of my biggest challenges in life was dealing with the office bully.
Is corporate bullying actually a big thing, like bigger than it may be portrayed out there? Because I know that the idea of bullying, like it's big in like schools and stuff and amongst kids because kids are just ruthless, right? That's the whole idea. Like kids have no filters. They don't know what's right from wrong. They're just gonna say whatever the fuck they want to you.
Well,
So is there like
they're learning what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. They learn
yeah.
winning and losing strategies, and
Mhm.
fortunately or unfortunately, in many cultures, it is the survival of the fittest. It's kill or be killed. So
Mhm.
yes, you can have bullies, and learning to either deal with bullies or learning to put up with bullies is part of the corporate ladder in many organizations still. Look what's going on in American politics. Is that not bullying? It's probably one of the greatest examples of bullying. The problem, or at least the challenge, is that people are learning from that that's acceptable in society these days. And that's the sad part that I'm hoping we can um, call it out so that we can do something positive to deal with it.
But wouldn't like let's say we did like because for some people they could argue otherwise. Like for some people they could say that bullying actually sort of helped make them more mentally tough, help them not have a care for what other people think about them, and sort of develop their personalities. Like I could see that for myself as well. Like turned my experiences of bullying into like a positive. It got the more aggressive side out of me. It got me to be more outgoing or just more expressive and of myself in different sort of respects, right? And so I think for me, like bullying has had a positive change, right? But I can see that for other people who have gone through bullying, it could have negative shifts as well. But if you do get through bullying, uh, is it a bad thing or is it a good thing? And how should people deal with it?
Well, I think what your question is a really great question. That there's not a one word answer. There is very much different strokes for different folks. There's a belief of many people: spare the rod, spoil the child. There's also the whole arena of hazing, and so these are practices that have been around for decades, if not centuries, if not millennia, that build character, supposedly. Yet when it becomes breaking the law, it becomes leading to perhaps murder, leading to suicide, leading to physical sexual abuse. Where's
Yeah.
the line?
Mm-hmm.
And so the law has attempted to bring in the line, yet we also know or are aware that sometimes the law is serving those who have the biggest bank book or checkbook. And so perhaps the way that we work in the arena of bullying. So again, a coach sometimes these days, a coach that really yells and screams and gets the best out of your team compared to the logistical one, the strategic one. And you can use football as an example. You can use basketball as an example. There's been different coaches over the years that today they just wouldn't have survived. And these were some of the best coaches 20, 30, 40 years ago. Today, they would probably be in jail.
Wow. Yeah, and would you say that memeing is bullying? Because like you know how cyberbullying is a very big thing, right? I think there's actually a really good example of this. I think it's Travis Scott. He's like a very famous musician or whatever. And on Halloween, he decided to express himself by posting a picture of him in a Batman costume, which did not go well with the internet. I would say people like completely harassed him. They were on his social media making fun of him, memeing him up. He was all over Twitter, all over Instagram, uh, and he decided to take down his account, Instagram account, because of that. So maybe he took it wrong as well. But do you think that memeing is like sort of like poking fun or a joke, or could that also be bullying as well?
Again, this is the world we live in right now. That for some people it could very much be bullying. For others, they're going to do it themselves to be able to promote. Again, we go back to the star of our last show, the Paul brothers, Logan Paul. I don't know if you've seen what they've done this past week, but they did a spoof of Conor McGregor and
Yeah.
Nate Diaz, and like he dressed up in all the different outfits, and again he was mocking them, he was memeing them, he was making fun of them. Now, for some people, he was a total idiot. For other people, he's a bloody genius. And so when you look at that idiot to genius, it's often a very narrow thread when you get looked at as being an idiot or a genius.
Yeah, yeah. And I'd say even for that example too, like when Conor McGregor was having his fight with Khabib, right? There was a lot of I could say verbal harassment going on
Oh,
there
it
as
was it
well.
was it was racist. He was
Yeah.
definitely pushing the limits. Again, we are
But
seeing in
was he?
social
But
media.
was he?
Oh,
Because
well, he pushed the
because
limits, meaning he got so much free publicity.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. To promote, like, if you're promoting a fight, right? You're trying to generate revenue. You're trying to build clicks, and there's a lot of trash talk you can do, and a lot of like sort of rivalry you can create between you and the other individual that could potentially bring more eyeballs to the whole event, right? And I think that in terms of what Conor McGregor was doing, where he was going after his dad, going after his mom, going after his belief systems and stuff. It was all just for the promotion of the fight, right? He didn't really mean anything he said like that, right? So you could argue that Conor McGregor in that situation wasn't really bullying, but he was just doing his job to promote the fight and give Khabib his biggest payday. However, Khabib did take that wrong and got his purse taken away for fighting after the fight had ended, right? If Khabib had just had stayed calm even after the fight, taken the victory, and left, he would have had his biggest UFC payday. And he's an undefeated fighter. I mean, why is a Conor McGregor fight giving him his biggest payday? Right? That doesn't make sense. But it's just because the work that Conor had done to create that bitter rivalry between the fans and getting people to really hate him and really want to see this fight and really want Conor McGregor to go down is what got eyeballs to the fight. So if Conor McGregor hadn't done that, then Khabib wouldn't have even been out there actually, because the UFC is not really promoting Khabib like Conor. They are promoting Conor McGregor, right? And Khabib's an undefeated fighter. So it's crazy to see how even a situation like that. Well, that's essentially why I personally believe that Khabib, I mean Conor McGregor wasn't. What he did was could be seen as wrong. However, it was for the promotion of the fight, right? And even if it was verbal harassment, bullying, or racism, all it had done at the end of the day was bring more publicity for the fight, which also helped Khabib at the end of the day get his career more out there. Because I didn't know him prior to that.
Well, I'll respond in this way: is that it definitely added fuel to the fire, and it created promotional afterglow. The idea that it didn't have any negative effect is a big question mark. There are some people who take those types of behaviors and they start to copy them, and they become part of their life, even though they're not promoting a fight. we're seeing a lot of that in politics right now, where people are baiting, people are using racism, people are making statements that you can say that, oh, they're just showboating. Yet there's some people who don't see it that way, and they're going to go and grab their AK-47 and go to the city center and maybe start doing some violent acts. And so that's the spill on effect that's difficult to quantify, and it's part of the in many ways for UFC and MMA, mixed martial arts, it's been the World Wrestling Federation comes to Ultimate Fighter. And so we knew that Mr. McMahon had his scripts and his characters and his reality TV, yet that wasn't a big part of the MMA before Conor McGregor.
Yeah, yeah. And I'd say like that the character that Conor McGregor was able to build around himself is this very arrogant figure, this person that you should hate, right? And even in his last, like,
Love
I
or
think,
hate, like the
love or
Irish
hate,
loved
yeah.
him. The
Yeah,
Irish
yeah,
loved him.
yeah.
Yet he got as much hatred to balance out the love, which, if you want a spiritual reference, that's
Go ahead.
what the yin and yang is. The yin and
Mm-hmm.
yang is, in the dark you find your light, in your light you find your darkness. And so any extreme taken to an extreme becomes a weakness. Any strength taken to an extreme becomes a weakness. So that's part of the world we're living in right now, especially in social media. I think you mentioned it last time, is that there's no negative media. And the way you
Yeah.
can spin it, like, and Logan Paul is one of these guys, he's a master of spinning it and getting incredible traction.
Yeah, yeah, and I think like a lot of people could, take notes from that because his strategy of turning his whole career around from a very negative situation, it was just crazy. I mean, everything that had happened after that whole suicide forest situation was crazy. But just a quick question, Dave. You've been to Japan, right? Have you ever been to that suicide forest?
I have not been to the Suicide
Oh,
Forest, and I did go check it out as soon as I heard that he did that and he upset so many people. I thought it was quite fascinating, and I did go check it out and found his spin of it quite ingenious.
yeah,
And that's part of the social media right now, and even with TikTok, we're in an age where everyone wants to be a celebrity, and
yeah.
TikTok and Instagram and all these platforms allow us, anyone who wants to be outrageous enough, to be a celebrity for a fleeting moment, 8 seconds, or perhaps 8 minutes.
What do you think about TikTok though, as a boomer?
I think that some people are using it brilliantly. I
Yeah.
haven't used it, but I thought about it, like, because I was doing some of those videos where I was playing lacrosse on rollerblades, and I was thinking I could do something pretty funny or crazy and do that. Yet I just haven't chosen to do it yet. Yet, if you wanted to do a TikTok challenge, I will be promoting an event in February. It's going to be perhaps in alignment with February 14th. And
Hmm.
we are going to be encouraging some people to do TikTok or Instagram Reel or Facebook as a way to promote this global event.
Really? Okay. Okay. And wait, so why didn't you do TikTok? Because I think you can be a big TikTok star. Because
Well, if you want to do it together, then again, because I don't like to do many things by myself, I like to do
uh,
things collaboratively. So if there was a TikTok
uh
challenge, I just recently did a 21-day video challenge. If you
yeah,
wanted to explore that, or we wanted to do some of that, I'd be up for it, because it could be pretty crazy. Because I actually have done quite a few crazy things in my life, and to do it on screen or in an 8-second video, or it really wouldn't be that big of a deal for me.
really? Okay. That's something that we could definitely explore. But you did mention that you did do some crazy things in your time other than the 21-day challenge. So what are a few of those things?
Well, we're about to talk about New Year's, so I think
Yeah.
we're moving into New Year's. So let's play a little bit about crazy times or boring times, or what type of times do people have during the New Year's. This New Year's, it's probably not going to be the most wild and wacky time. Yet, what would be
Definitely.
one or two of your most memorable New Year's?
Well, definitely. I'll actually explain this story. It's a pretty crazy story. So this is my. I think I just turned nine. I think it was 18 or 19. It was something around there, right? So usually in New Year's, I go out with my friends. We have a great time. We party. We go to like Niagara Falls or different places like that, right? Here in Ontario. And this particular New Year's, we went to a club in Toronto. The biggest club actually is Rebel, right? And uh, basically my yeah so the people I went out with they had a booth already, and they had bottle service and all that stuff, right? So obviously, like, I'm a young person, I'm like 18 or something, and I'm gassed. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna have fun tonight, and it's gonna be a great night, and I'm gonna go home and chill, right? So yeah, so I'm in that exclusive area where all the booth people are at, because it's a very exclusive area. It has bars, you have drinks, free bottles. It's coming like all the time. So we have constant drinks coming to the table, right? So I may or may not have had a few shots, right? So I drank a bit, and I'm not gonna lie about that, but I did drink, and 3 shots, 4 shots, 5 shots later, I'm gone, right? At this point, because I'm not an avid drinker. I barely ever drink, right? And so yeah, I had like about 5 shots at this point, and I'm absolutely gone. I'm smashed, gone, right? And so my friend's older sister actually hands me another glass. She's like, "Hey, take this, like whatever, just try this drink, right?" It was like Blue Label or something like that, right? And so I'm like, all right, I'll try it, because I'm already smashed. I want more, right? And so I take 2 more drinks, and I black out. It's done. I wake up the next morning, my neck hurts. I'm like in between two sofas, like sleeping. My back is like not even on anything, right? And I'm so confused as to what happened the night before, right? Until I look at my phone and I see all these crazy videos, right? And so this is not even the crazy part though. So I have a terrible stomach ache this next New Year's morning. This is January 1st now, right? The next morning, I have a terrible stomach ache. I'm in some random like Airbnb penthouse in the middle of Toronto, and we're supposed to check out at 12. So me and my friend, we head downstairs to the lobby, right? And as we were sitting there, actually, I realized that I have to puke, right? So I actually went outside and I vomited, and 2 minutes later, the Uber ride comes. So I had to quickly clean up my vomit and sit in the car, right? And so we were in the car for like an hour because we were going from Toronto back to Brampton, right? So uh, I was sitting in the car holding in another batch of puke that was coming out for 1 whole hour. And as soon as the car stopped in front of my friend's house, I exploded. The vomit went everywhere, right? So thankfully I didn't do it inside the Uber, so I didn't have to pay
Beautiful.
any, charges or
What
anything
do
like
they
that.
charge?
I don't know actually. I don't know what they would charge. Probably damages or something like that to clean the carpet. But I have no idea because I didn't do it, right. So
Hmm.
yeah, that was a pretty crazy New Year's experience, and that's probably an experience that made me quit alcohol forever. So I never want to do it again.
How long did that forever last?
So I think maybe here and there I do have drinks with my friends, right? Like very light drinks. However, I never go past any sort of limit to feel any like, drunkenness or any sort of wastedness. But maybe after maybe 2021, who knows, there could be a change and Ish might come back into the game and but be a little bit more responsible since I am older now, right? Not too older, but I'm 21 now. So back then I think I was around 19. Yeah, I did do some questionable things. Yeah, yeah. That
Very
was a
good.
crazy. That was probably my craziest story.
That's a good experience. Congratulations. We're
Yeah, yeah,
encouraging people this year. You might be able to do something outrageous, even though it will be in your bubble. And so enjoy your bubble for New Year's. Be safe. Yet you can still potentially do something crazy. Maybe make a TikTok. Maybe post your TikTok on our comments below. We welcome
yeah.
anyone who wants to share what wonderful things you'll do for New Year's. The one I would explain or share would be in a place called Meiji Jingu Mai in Tokyo, Japan. And I was about
Okay,
your age. I guess I was probably about 23. And
okay.
we decided one year, it's a tradition in Japan, on the 31st, you go out, it was snowing, and we got dressed up, but we had sake. And you're waiting in line to go ring a bell, like a huge bell. And it's in one of the most famous temples in Tokyo called Meiji Jingu Mai. We waited in line for about 2.5 hours, just moving along with probably about 10,000 people. And we're drinking this hot sake, which is the worst hot sake you buy at 7-Eleven. And you drink it and you drink it and you drink it. And by the time we finished around 2 in the morning, we're heading back, we're all just totally blocked. And I ride back and pass out and wake up the next day with probably the worst hangover in my life because of this. If you drink lousy, cheap alcohol, guess what? It will punch you in the head the next day. And so the
Yeah.
next morning, 1,055 camels had been climbing all over my tongue that whole morning. And it was a really tough day as they stomped on my head and made me feel that that was a year that I will never forget. I probably swore that I wouldn't drink alcohol ever again, and that probably lasted about 11 hours. So those were the Tokyo days, is that we had a resiliency, we had an exploratory way of doing things, and we often would infuse alcohol in most of the adventures.
Yeah, yeah. I think like one big delusion though that people have is that, oh, I don't need to drink alcohol. I can have the same amount of fun without it. Like I I think that's a lie, right? I'm always, if I do drink a little bit of alcohol, I'm always going to be a little bit more outgoing, or just feel a little bit more loose, because you tend to get into a rhythm, especially if you're around other people who drink alcohol to the same extent as you. You guys can have a lot more fun, carefree without it, right? Because I remember there was many times after my situation, right, where I had drank a lot and ended up having a terrible hangover the next day where I puked like around 3 or 4 times. There was many times when I actually stayed sober during times when my friends were smashed, right? And they were out in the streets singing, dancing, partying, and I'm there worrying, like, what does that person think? Like, oh, I think we should quiet down. I think we should stay away from these people. But if I was to be drunk in that situation, right, would I be a little bit more loose or have more fun, just like they were, right? I mean, it raises that sort of question. So I think a lot of the times people could say that or claim that they could have the same amount of fun being sober drunk, but that is, I think personally, not possible, right? You won't ever be as outgoing or loose as somebody who is drunk, right? What do you say to that, Dave?
Well, again, I would say different strokes for different folks. And so
Really?
it is about you learning about the best way for you, because what's best for you ain't necessarily best for your buddy. I'm one of these guys who actually have a bit an allergy to alcohol. So I've had a couple of situations where I drank so much that I almost died. And
Oh
so
wow.
one of the things that saved my life, and this is the thing, if we want to have a little contest, we might ask people in the comments to write down puke or no puke, because puking saved my life. As a banker in Japan, we had to go out with the clients a lot, and I would drink to a point where I made myself puke. It's the old finger down the throat, so
Oh.
that you can make it back to the
Classic.
office the next day at 7 a.m. And
Yeah.
so that is the way that I lived when I lived in Tokyo, and it saved my life. So
Does
I'm
that work?
inviting folks that if you drink too much, make yourself throw up can be something that could save your life.
Does it
Now,
actually work though? Like if you
absolutely.
drink a lot, like can you like miss the whole hangover phase the next morning if you make yourself puke?
Again, if you get all of the alcohol out of your system, which I'm not saying you get it all out, yet I definitely felt that it saved my life, because there were times when I would have had alcohol poisoning if I didn't purge. And so I that's how I
Oh.
survived, but I not only survived, I thrived in that environment, except if I had somebody who would like give me shit about puking. Yet guess what? I knew that was my savior, and so that's what I did to
Hmm.
be able to get along. Because I hung out with these guys who were like they could drink like 18 beer. I was pushed to
Jesus.
drink 8 or 9 beer, and then I would feel like 300 pounds. And
Yeah,
so when
yeah.
when you're hanging out with guys who are like 6'2", 6'5", and yeah, that's part of my experience. And I would say puke or no puke. What's best for you?
Yeah, yeah. I'd say I'm not a really big fan of beer though. I'm more of a shot person. I can't
Yeah.
even drink, like I can't even mix a drink with like
Yeah.
a soda and
Well,
drink it.
in Japan, if you're in business in Japan, you start
Yeah.
with beer, then you go to wine, then you go to
Really?
whiskey, then you go to sake, then you go to cognac. And by then it's like, whoa, like, where are you? And so it's
Hmm.
layers, and the drinking is often competitive drinking. Now, some people will say, oh, that's
Competitive
bullying.
drinking? Oh.
Yeah, because they're often going to want to see that you can drink with them.
So
That's
there's like an ego behind it. Is that what you're like?
There's an ego, there's a bonding, there's a masculinity to it. It's more
Um,
severe or more robust in Korea. It's more robust in China. Taiwan was probably one of the places that was the most wild because we were with like these military guys who were like they were the trained drinker in their team, and they were also probably a fifth dan in martial arts because these guys were like
shit.
machines. And
Hmm.
when we went out with them, they were pushing the limits, and they just wanted to see where your limits were.
Oh, and also like you mentioned, there's beer, then you go to wine, whiskey, whatever, whatever. Is there like classes to it? Like, the bosses usually drink whiskey, or the rookies usually drink beer. Like, is there like a class thing to it
No,
in the workplace?
when you're in a group like that, you're usually 3 on 3 or 4 on 4, and you're doing rounds together. So
Hmm.
it's like, and then when you get to late in the night, that's when you see like the boss starts passing it off to his like bodyguard, and the bodyguard will just put like 2 shots, and then like again, allowing it to be entertaining because by then everyone's best brothers and brother from another mother, and it's just absolutely outrageous. Yet that's the
Yeah.
type of bonding that happens, and is something that perhaps didn't happen very much in 2020. And there's probably a lot of people that are grateful they don't have to do it anymore.
Oh wow. Yeah, because it probably smashed a lot of people, back in the
It
day.
not only wipes you out your brain cells, it wipes out a lot of other things in life.
So yeah, so you bring up this whole corporate alcoholic thing, right? It reminds me of The Wolf of Wall Street. Have you ever watched the movie?
Right? It's pretty
Is it
accurate.
is it oh, it's really, I mean, is drugs a big part of it too? Like
It
cocaine, ecstasy,
in
Adderall?
the late 1980s, 90s, yeah, it was very prevalent. I
Prevalent,
remember
yeah.
going to school in Japan, and
Mm.
even the students from the states, they were smuggling in their cocaine and bringing cocaine
Really?
into Tokyo. And oh yeah, that was very much, again, that was the whole Colombian cartel era,
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
was a real thing that people on Wall Street, they were, because again, if you're working 17 hours a day, you're looking for these ways to stay high. And so
Really?
yes, it's
Does being high actually help you like stay focused for 17 hours though?
yeah, well,
Because
you get wired, you're alert,
you're
and
alert.
then you crash. Like that's the whole thing, is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it keeps you alert, and then you crash, or you go to the bathroom and you snort a couple and you come back in there and you're aware and you see the markets and and then you're crashing.
Because I remember there was that one scene with Matthew McConaughey, right? When he was talking with Leonardo DiCaprio, telling him that there's only two things in Wall Street. It's hookers and drugs, and so you got to take cocaine to keep your mind sharp, and then like jerk off twice a day to stay relaxed, and
Yeah.
then like that just became a big thing in his career. Are hookers and drugs actually a big part of like these whole big corporate things? Because I think one thing that people got from that movie is that in these corporate environments they do have a lot of drugs and a lot of sex and a lot of these different things. Is that actually like accurate though? Is my question.
The short answer is yes. The long answer is yes. We could talk about it again. It would be great. Maybe we'll talk about Jeffrey Epstein in the future, and
Oh, I'd
maybe
love to.
we'll put our own alert on. Yet I definitely can go into some stories that might allow some perspective on it, and also perspective of uh, being in the finance industry, being in the broking industry. We'll talk about that in a future show. So if any of our listeners has a question about that, add a comment, add a like. You write down maybe a question or two that you would want to discuss in a future
Absolutely.
show. And that's probably a great way to bring today's 2020 to a close, and be with us in 2021, where we talk a little bit more about Wall Street, the financial markets, Jeffrey Epstein, and the dark side of
the
society.
whole the whole like business scope. So yeah, everyone please leave a like on this video, hit the subscribe button with the notification bell so you're updated every week. We do post videos and we post clips on a daily basis, right? And so me and Dave would greatly appreciate that. There's a link in the description to our Facebook page. Make sure you check that out. uh, and happy new year, guys. Happy holiday. Hope you guys had a great Christmas. Write down some of the goals for 2021. Hopefully it is a better year than 2020 has been and will ever be. So we'll just hope and pray for the next month or so as we're in lockdown. However, other than that, take care, guys. Write your New Year's resolutions and peace out, guys.
Peace out. Make it the best year ever, 2021.